Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm actually going to do a breakdown with Matthew here, my integrator partner, on how you can get your first real estate deal without being a part of any of the expensive mentorships or coaching programs out there. This is for the individuals who have the mindset of saying, you know what, I don't have money to invest into these mentorships or a coach or anything like that. So I'm going to show you step by step on how you can get in your first real estate deal today and start collaborating with people like me. If you think this is super valuable information, do me a favor, smash that like and subscribe button and click the description below to see the gift that I'm going to give to you guys. So Matt, let's talk about giving your first deal today. What you're going to do is, if you're not a part of any of these expensive mentorships or coaching programs like I just mentioned a second ago, you're actually going to go right into Facebook, because we all have it. Do you have access to Facebook?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So you're going to go in the Facebook group, okay? And what I suggest is when you go into the Facebook group, you can go into the Burr group. It's a pretty big community. They have about 150,000 members. You can go into the Creative Finance Facebook group. And I'm going to write these down so you guys can see. Okay? So you're going to type this in on Facebook, and then you're going to type this in on Facebook. Is it Creative? Is it?
Finance,
Yeah, put that for finance. All right, so you're going to go into these two Facebook groups here on Facebook. Each one of these have about 150,000 members. That's a lot of members. It's a lot of collaborating. Now, I know a lot of you guys are thinking. You guys are probably thinking like, oh man, there's a lot of scammers in there, or there's a lot of people who don't have the real intention of getting me a deal and stuff like that. Well, I can tell you this. There's a lot of deals that are done in these Facebook groups. And yes, you might have to go through the headache of weeding out the people who aren't serious, but we're talking you're in the free Facebook group. So there really isn't any filter, and that's the best thing about being in these paid groups that I'm in. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, because if you think that's a better fit for you, we'll talk about that just in a second. But what I want you to do is when you go to these Facebook groups, and these are two of the biggest ones that I know for real estate. Now, I'm sure there's many others out there, but I'm just gonna use these for an example. And so what I would want you to do, Matt, is when you go in there, what you need to do is you need to start collaborating with wholesalers. What is a wholesaler? A wholesaler is someone who is out there, and all they do is they curate deals to sell to people like yourself. What does that mean? That means that this wholesaler is out there getting contracts for someone like Matt, and they want to sell the equitable interest that they have locked up between the seller and their self and sell it to Matt. So how does this benefit Matt? Okay, so that wholesaler is going to sell a deal to Matt. Okay, this is the contract that is going to be sold, right? And the cool thing about this is, and why this is beneficial, is it started with Facebook, which is free. We all have an account there. You're going to join one of these Facebook groups that have 150,000 members. You're going to post in the Facebook groups. You're going to post your buy box. Once you post your buy box, you make a post in there. We all know how to do post. You're going to be getting inquiries from wholesalers saying, hey, look, what's your buy box? You're going to be posting that into either their DM, or you're going to post it in the actual main post of the body post. What does a buy box look like for people who don't know what a buy box is? Your buy box typically is, what is the investing criteria of what you're looking for in a property, okay? So what does your investment criteria look like, Matt, would you say?
I mean, I'm piggybacked off yours for so long now, so it's going to be single-family home.
Single-family home.
3-2.
So single-family, 3-2.
1,200 plus square feet.
1,200 square foot. Okay, perfect.
I think 1985 or newer.
Year.
Year built.
Yep. 1985.
Yep. No,
Okay.
Yep. No HOA.
No HOA.
No pools.
No pools.
No septic.
No septic.
No flood zone. That was a new one I learned.
No flood zone. Okay?
I think that's, yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Okay, cool. Well, that's enough.
Yeah.
So the reason why it's super important that you have this criteria of what you're looking for in investment property. Every person has a different criteria of what they're looking for when they're investing. So for instance, I might talk to Joe in the other room and he might say, you know what, I don't like single family. I only want multifamily. I'm okay with flood zones. Matt's not okay with flood zones. And what I'm basically getting to here, guys, it is super important that you are crystal clear on what your buy box is. Because when you post your buy box to these wholesalers, when you build a good enough relationship here, their job is to get the contract to sell to someone like Matthew, okay? Now, Matthew is in a position to where he hasn't had to pay for any marketing. He hasn't had to pay for VAs. He hasn't had to go out there and negotiate or learn a new skill set like this wholesaler has done. This wholesaler actually has a skill set, a negotiation skill set. They have a marketing. They have to do marketing to get the leads. They have to do cold calling. They have to spend time and energy to get the contract to send to Matt. Now, the cool thing is Matt didn't actually have to go out there and do any of that. And a lot of you guys probably thinking like, well, you know, I made a post in one of those Facebook groups and I haven't had any luck, da-da-da-da-da. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. What I suggest is this is just one of the ways you can actually go in there and get on people's buy boxes or get your buy box on people's list. There's many other ways, but the cool thing about this is when you're cultivating relationships with wholesalers, people who do this full time, 365 days a year, and they have a very robust business, and you become what we call a VIP buyer. So let's say Matt now bought his first deal off this wholesaler that went and got a contract within his criteria right here. Okay? So what's going to end up happening is Mr. Wholesaler, let's say his name is Joey, got the contract within Matt's criteria, and Matt now takes a look at the deal. And so Matt needs to ask himself, what is his exit strategies? This is another thing that you need to be crystal clear on. So not only buy box, you need to be specific on what are your exit strategies. So what are your exit strategies? That's the ugliest thing that I've ever done. What are your exit strategies?
Right now I'm focusing on pad splits, co-living.
So exit strategies
And then secondaries
are co-living.
Long-term or Airbnb.
So one thing I want you guys to notice is, notice how Matt is answering these questions very quickly. He already has in his mind what type of asset that he is going to invest into. One, that's making him super efficient. He's very crystal clear and focused because we don't want Mr. Wholesaler just sending us anything. And also, when you're on these wholesaler list, you are going to get blasted with deals because 9 times out of 10, you're going on this wholesaler's list and you're just part of his whole entire email list. We all know that's what happens. They will say that they're going to find you deals exactly in your buy box, but you're going to have to scout through all the trash that he sends you and then see what's in your buy box. So you need to eliminate the noise very fast. That's super important. Matt is very crystal clear on what his buy box is. Now, co-living. Why did you pick co-living as an exit strategy?
Well, it's one of the most affordable ones to get into because it spreads the risk.
Okay.
Because with co-living, and what you've taught me and what I've seen is that instead of having one family in that house that could potentially lose their job, stop making payments, and I've lost an entire asset class in terms of income, I can now turn that co-living into maybe a 7-2.
Okay.
I can have 7 different people living in each of the 7 different rooms.
Gotcha.
So 5 rooms.
So that's spreading your risk.
It's spreading my risk. That's why, yeah.
So Matt, one of your exit strategies was co-living. What was your other one that you said earlier?
Long-term rental.
Long-term rental. LTR, guys. LTR is pretty straightforward. You get a property, you get a tenant in there. They typically rent from 12 months upwards to 24 months, but typically your typical lease agreement is 12 months for that individual. Now, remember, with long-term renting is the issue with that is you have a home and let's say you're renting out this one property to Bob. The issue here is Bob is paying you, let's say $1,500 a month for your home. You're only in business if Bob continues to pay you for that property. What Matt was just explaining is he's actually taken a property and he's chopping in this property up between 7 to 8 bedrooms,
Yeah,
right? 7 to 8 bedrooms, right? And he's now spreading his risk. So Bob stops paying, you're out of business, that's it, you're done. So his 2 exit strategies is co-living, and his second one is LTR. If you're watching this, you need to understand that LTR is great and all, but you're only in business when that one individual is renting from you. If they move out and it takes you 30, 60, 90 days to fill that property, then you're out of business. Why Matt probably likes co-living so much is because, one, we're in times where it's everything's so expensive. We have affordability problems. And he wants to take that same property, and instead of renting it to Bob, he wants to make it 7 to 8 bedrooms where he's now renting out per bedroom. So he has 7 to 8 people paying him on one asset. He is always in business and will never be out of business. So what's going to happen here is once this wholesaler sends properties over to Matthew via email, okay, typically, over time, Matt is going to be able to scout through the deals and start eliminating the deals that's not within his buy box right here, okay? Now, once he does that and he has now found a property, let's say Mr. Wholesaler Jimmy okay? Mr. Wholesaler Jimmy now has sent a property to Matthew and he has found a property. Matt's excited. He's got his first property. He's been on this email list for months and months and months because, again, this doesn't happen overnight. There's no way you're going to join one of these Facebook groups and just buy a deal tomorrow because it's going to take months of relationship building. Now, you could, but it's going to take months of relationship. It's going to take you cultivating these relationships, collaborating with people. Guys, it's a contact sport. It's not like, hey, I post my buy box in one of these groups and then I have a deal. I'm so excited. Now, Matt has got a deal from Jimmy, right? Jimmy sends this deal to Matt and now says the house that he is selling Matt, okay, that Jimmy, the wholesaler, has negotiated, has now got the contract, right, and sold it to Matt, and that's the property for $300,000. Matt looks at the property and says, you know what, this is perfect, it's in my location, it's 1,200 square foot minimum. It's the year built minimum. It's got no HOA. It's got no pool. It's got no septic. Got no flood zone. It's a single family home. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, which he's going to convert, right? You're going to convert this. And he's going to convert that probably into a 6, 7, 8-bedroom property. Now, let's say Matt is in a position to where I don't have any money. If you don't have any money, Matt, what are you going to end up doing? How are you going to source your money? Because that's another problem. The first problem is like, hey, I can't find a deal. And if I find a deal, I don't have the money. So what I always tell people is you don't want to wait till the last second to find the money for your deal. You want to be able to get that relationship as well prior to you even going into finding deals, right? You could do both of them simultaneously, but what happens if you find that deal, Matt, and you have no money? How are you going to execute?
No.
You're not going to execute, right? So the most important thing here is while you're doing this and finding your deal is you really want to cultivate relationships with, are you a bigger fan of PML or PMP?
I haven't had an experience with either of them, but
So, okay.
Because I know PMLs, they typically want 12 months or less.
Right. So a lot of times, especially in the communities we're in, like Sub2, Gator, people want short-term money, meaning, or their capital back quick, meaning 12 months or less. If they let you borrow money on this asset, they're going to want it back 12 months or less. So typically those products or those borrowers are like fix and flippers. That's not going to work for Matthew here because Matthew is going to be in this deal probably for 5 to 7 years, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is you can get PML. And you're probably wondering, what is a PML? A PML is a private money lender, okay? Let's go here. Matt, you got Matt, yep. Let's go PML. PML is private money lender, okay? And Matt, while he's been working on finding this deal, he was actually smart enough to go out and cultivate relationships with a private money lender. Private money lender is someone who is, maybe they're a high income earner, they work a 9 to 5, or maybe they're your brother, your mother, your sister, your father. Maybe it's somebody that you know that did a scratch off ticket and won millions and millions of dollars, okay? Well, Matt was smart enough to, while he was doing this process of finding this deal, he was out there cultivating relationships with PML. And the cool thing about it is when you go out there and you're building relationships with private money lenders, you can actually go and borrow money typically right now in today's market anywhere between 10% to 12%. Okay? Now, it's going to vary depending on the lender, depending on the circumstance of the deal. There's a lot of variations. But what I see is typical is anywhere between 10 to 12%, sometimes upwards to 15%. But what's important for Matt to know is how long does he need this money for? The property's $300,000, but the entry fee of this property, the entry fee is, let's say, $60,000, okay? That's the entry. So the wholesaler, Jimmy, is selling the property to Matt, which is the 3-2. It's a $300,000, and the entry fee is $60,000. So Matt needs to go out there and actually raise $60,000. That's just to buy the deal. Now, if Matt was to do a co-living on this property, you're going to need what?
Renovations.
You're going to need renovation money plus what?
Holding costs.
So that's just entry. He's going to need reno money.
Holding cost money.
You're going to need holding costs money. You're going to need what else?
Any maintenance stuff?
Maintenance, miscellaneous. Yep, miscellaneous. You're going to need furniture, exactly. Right? Matt's going to need all this different capital to be able to execute on a pad split, because $60K is just to get him in the deal, okay? And we're not going to go really in depth on what these things cost, but let's just say that the reno, the holding cost, the miscellaneous, the furniture cost another $30,000, okay? So now he's got his entry fee. He's got, and this is all the other miscellaneous costs, we'll call it here, okay? That includes the furniture, the holding costs, any miscellaneous repairs that he had to do to the property that he wasn't expecting to do. We're at $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. So now the total here is $90K. Matt now has to go to this PML and say, hey, Mr. PML, hey, yeah, we've been working on relationships for quite some time now. I got an actual deal. Matt's going to actually have to put what's called a pitch deck together, right? What would you do, Matt? How are you going to present this deal to this person?
Well, after I've underwritten the deal, make sure all the numbers make sense, and I can get a cash-on-cash return, that it's an actual deal, that we're actually going to make some money on it. I'm going to create a one-page marketing
pitch deck.
And
cool.
I'm going to have some photos, all this information. Yeah.
Matt's got the deal off Facebook. He's found the deal. He was smart enough to build a relationship with a PML, private money lender, which, who would be a private money lender to you right now? Who would you go after as a private money lender?
Well, I mean, with the relationships that I built, just right off the top of the head is like you.
Okay.
I know you do private money lending. So
we actually did a private money lender deal together.
Yeah.
Right? Cool.
Yeah. So I would go to you first.
Really quick, how did we meet?
We met through networking.
So yeah. I didn't know him I haven't even known him for a year.
Yeah.
And he built a relationship with me. My first lend that I did to him was $25K or $30? 25.
I believe it was $25.
$25,000.
Yeah.
So I had lazy capital sitting in my bank account. It wasn't doing anything. I became the bank for him for one of his deals. Mm-hmm. He hasn't even known me for a year. But what we've done is we've cultivated a relationship. I know, like, and trust him. He said, hey, Javier, would you lend me XYZ dollars for a particular deal? And I was able to go back to him and say, yes, I will lend you money for a particular deal at this interest rate. We'll talk about securing your money and interest rates in another video. This video is solely for you guys to understand Matt was proactive. He went out there, built relationships with guys like me who have lazy capital or people who want to lend who do it for a living. He was finding and cultivating his deals off Facebook because he was posting in the Facebook marketplace. Once he found the deal through Jimmy, which Jimmy's out there doing calling, he's doing door knocking, he's got all these marketing systems in place and processes to find contracts for Matt. He found Matt a deal, which was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. And now that Matt has this deal, he checked it really quick. Not only did he do his underwriting, but he made sure that the property was within his buy box, meaning his buying criteria. Why do you want to have the buying criteria? I'm going to say it again, because you're more efficient when you're investing. It's important that you have your buy box set up, because if you don't have your buy box set up, you're going to be looking at everything and you're not going to buy anything, right? Super important, right? So now that he's found the deal, he's underwrote the deal, it's within his buying criteria. The next biggest step for Matt is now he has to go up to a guy like me and say, hey,
Gotta market the deal.
show me what you got, right? You want to present that deal to me? He's going to present it to me what's called a pitch deck, okay? And a pitch deck basically is for the you guys don't know, a pitch deck is exactly the criteria of the property, what his exit strategy is. So criteria, exit, it's got the return, ROI, ROI on there. Loan terms. Okay. It's got pictures of the property. It's got, what else has it got on there? It's got the address.
Yep, address. Link to a Google Drive if.
Yeah, what's your photos. Yeah. It's got pretty much everything that Matt intends on doing with the property. Because I'm not going to just lend on the property. Matt comes up to me for 60, 90, 100K. I need to now do my homework as the lender. I need to see and underwrite the deal as the lender. He's my borrower. I need to underwrite and look at the risk assessment of this deal, okay? We're not talking about lending today. We're talking specifically on how you can get your first deal. So Matt was smart enough to actually take the opportunity almost a year ago and go to a meetup where he met me at, which is a private money lender. Another great way for you guys to start meeting PMLs or finding deals, or maybe you find your next business partner, is actually meetups. We talked about finding your first deal on Facebook, and yes, you can do a lot of things over online and you can be very efficient on building relationships, but nothing better for me to go and shake Matt's hand and actually build trust with someone that I know, like, and trust. Like, I was able to shake his hand. We're doing more deals today. He's working on my back end stuff as an integrator partner. We've now partnered up and doing business together, and I've also been a private money lender to him. So once I look at this as a PML, the PML looks at this, okay? Once the PML looks at this, my P's ugly. Make a prettier P for you guys. Once this PML looks at this, and I say, okay, Matt, this looks good. Next step for me would say, okay, well, he's closing on this deal that Jimmy sold him. Matt's asking for entry fee, and he's asking for miscellaneous back-end repairs, reno, furniture costs. And some PMLs, by the way, depending on the PML, just so you guys know, they won't lend on the back-end stuff. Meaning like the furniture, the closing, or the furniture, the holding costs, all the other miscellaneous after you bought the property, some of them won't lend on it. So it's important for him to talk to me and say, hey, not only do I need 60 to buy the property, close on the property, after I close on the property, on the back end, I have miscellaneous costs too. The holding costs, the furniture costs, the pad spit renovation, stuff like that. So what's going to end up happening is Matt's going to say, hey, I need 60 for the entry, meaning for me to buy the deal off of Jimmy, which is the 3-2. And then I need another $30K for the furniture, the pad spit renovations, the holding costs, any other miscellaneous costs that's associated with buying the property. Okay? And so now I'm going to say to Matt, okay, I'll give you 90. We might do it at 12%. We might do it at 15%. There's no rule. I can actually go to Matt and say, hey, look, okay, great. You're my borrower. I'm going to give you the money at, let's say, 12%. So what's going to end up happening is that's $10,800. So let's say on the PML, I've given Matt 90K, right? Matt is now I'm getting interest-only payments from Matt. Now, remember, as a PML, you don't have any ownership in the deal. As a private money partner, you have ownership in the deal. And we'll talk about that just in 1 second if I have enough time. All right, guys, I'm back. And as you guys know, I have a couple different businesses that I run, and I was actually hiring a VA for my content distribution because I'm giving you guys so much wonderful content. Look, I want to know what you guys think. Everything that I just went over with you guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about the strategy I'm telling you. If it makes sense for you to get free leads this way, meaning like you're getting a lead for a home, and do you think that PML and the strategy I'm showing you here is effective for someone who's not a part of these fancy groups or part of the clubs or whatever? This is meant for someone who's like, you know what, I don't have the money to invest into something like a community that might cost 10, 20, 30, or maybe it's an annual membership or whatever. So where we left off was with you guys is PML. Matt now comes up to me and says, hey, I need $90,000. He's already done the underwriting. He's found the deal through a wholesaler, and he's now ready to execute and close on this property whenever the closing date of that house is. So I'm now going to tell him, hey, yeah, I can give you $90,000 at 10, or 12%, which is $10,800. Okay? That's at 12% annualized. So Matt's going to have to pay me payments every single month if that's what I structure, or he can give me a lump sum check at the very end. But what Matt needs to know is, how long do I need this money for? Typically, I tell people if you're doing a buy and hold, which he's doing as a pad split, because remember, he's going to convert this 3-2 that he bought from Jimmy the wholesaler, he's going to convert it into an 8-bedroom, 2-bath most likely. And so Matt needs to know, how long do I need the $90,000 for? Okay? Typically, I would tell people, the way that you can get your money paid back is several different ways. Matt might say to me as the PML, it says, hey, I need the money for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Typically, Matt's not going to want to go up to me and say, hey, I need the money for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And that's why we were talking about earlier is if you go out there and raise capital and you're doing a buy and hold project, it's super important you get PMLs who are okay with lending the money for 24 months minimum. And the reason why I say 24 months is because this private money lender, the only way you're really going to get this private money lender out, which is me with this particular project, is if he replaces me with another hard money lender, or if he pays me back with cash flow every month. But for him to pay me back $90K in, let's say, 24 months, the property's not going to cash flow enough for him to pay me back. So if he doesn't sell the property or pays me back with cash flow or replaces me with another lender, a private money lender, he's not going to be able to get me out of this deal. So I would tell Matt, because he's now going to give me a 12% return, which is $10,800 per year annualized. That's $900 a month. So this is per year. Okay? And then per year, and then per month, I'm going to be getting $900, right? $900 a month. He's going to have to pay me either in monthly payments or at a check at the end, whatever I negotiate with Matt. Now, for Matt to get this deal and for me to be a PML in this deal, I always tell people it's very important you're crystal clear on the type of PML that you're going after. You typically wouldn't go into a Gator group or maybe a meetup. Like, it's important, I always tell people, if you create your avatar PML, meaning like, who are you going to go after? Maybe you're going after high income earner, people who work in the medical field. Maybe you're going after people in the tech industry. Try to actually pick, I always tell people, the PML, actually, you want to create a buy box for that as well, right? What's your PML look like? Your PML box, right? Because when you can start marketing to these people and you start doing it at a scalable business, it's important you're going after the avatar of the person that you want to borrow money from. But being that this is a case-per-case basis and you're probably only doing your first or second deal, that's okay if you don't have that yet. But eventually, if you want to catapult into scaling into doing deals with other people's money, you're going to want to be crystal clear. Are you going after the 9-to-5er with the 401ks who want to be a real estate investor, but they don't have the skill set, the know-how, the time, the etc.? Or are you going after the people in the tech world who are high income earners, or maybe they're in medical field? Think about who you resonate with most. For me personally, PML money, what I really like to look for is people in sales. People who are making $250,000, $250,000 a year or more. Why? Because I resonate with those people who are in sales. The people who are in sales, I know that they're only good at their next deal a lot of times, and they're always looking to deploy their money into other things. Not only are they only as good as their next deal, but a lot of times these high income earners, $250,000 or more, this is what I'm looking for. $250,000 or more, they have all this money and they're so engulfed in their craft, which is sales, and they don't have time to spend it. Being that I have a real estate background, a realtor background, that's how I started the industry. I know that like when I was selling homes, making 10, 20, 30K a pop per home, I would have all this capital and I would have nowhere to deploy it. And I was only as good as my next sale. So I actually resonate with salespeople because I know that they're in a position to where they're only as good as their next sale if they're 100% commission based, right? So they need to deploy their money into an asset like a piece of real estate. And that's always the best place to park your money. I always tell people, when you buy a piece of real estate, you get so many different benefits. So let's rewind here a little bit, what has happened, and kind of do a really quick recap. The first, let me get the thing. The first thing that Matt is going to do, which is going to be step one. I'm going to rewind this so you guys see. So step one is, where are we going, Matt?
Facebook groups.
Facebook groups. What are we going to do in these Facebook groups?
Post our buy box and create relationships.
Create relationships
with wholesalers.
Okay. Okay, so he's going to go to Facebook group. When you go to Facebook group, what are you going to look for?
I'm going to look for the deals. I'm going to see what people are already posting in the deal. I can probably do some active marketing,
Are you going to join the Facebook groups?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so you're not going to just sign up, create a Facebook profile if you don't have one. No. He's actually going to go in there. He's going to be intentional, and he's going to join. So after he goes into there, he's now going to join. What type of Facebook groups are you going to join? You're going to join cooking classes?
No, creative finance.
You're going to create creative finance.
Or wholesale.
Okay.
Wholesale creative finance. Obviously, we have Sub2.
Right.
Or Paces creative finance group.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
The Bigger Pockets Burr group.
Okay, so you can go to Bigger Pockets, you can go to Creative Finance, you can go to whatever Facebook group has real estate in it, or people are talking about real estate. Typically, I like to look for the bigger groups, maybe that have 25,000 or more members in there that are posting, I would say 5 to 10 posts a day. So after you go to Facebook groups, what is going to be the next step here?
I'm going to, cultivate relationships with wholesalers.
Okay, he's going to build relationships with wholesalers. Right? What is, after you've gone to Facebook, you've joined the Facebook group, you're building relationships with wholesalers, you're actually getting on your buy box on their list, right? Meaning, again, these people are just going to add you to the list and they're going to send out tons of deals to you, and then you have to shift through them. So it's important for you to actually be honed in on your buy box, be crystal clear, and if something's not within your buy box, eliminate it right away, go into the next deal, okay? There's plenty of deals out there, I promise you. There's no shortage of deals. Step 3 is going to be what?
Well, once I found a deal that fits my buy box, I need to start negotiating to purchase the deal.
Okay, perfect.
With the wholesaler.
So the wholesaler, Jimmy, now sends Matt a deal, and he needs to start going in negotiating numbers, right? negotiating. So after that, and Matt negotiates the property, he's now at the same time, and I always tell people, do this ahead of time. It's super important. Make sure you're building relationships with private money lenders or PMPs. You want to do this beforehand because it's super important, or simultaneously, because it's super important, because once Matt starts negotiating the deal with Jimmy that he found through Facebook, how is he going to buy the deal if he doesn't have any money? Maybe if you're watching this, maybe you do have money and you don't need to raise money from a PML or a PMP. But the most important thing is once Matt has negotiated, he's excited, he's found the deal, he needs to now execute on buying the deal. And the only way he's going to do that is PML money, right? PML money or PMP, right? Oh, why don't I do PMP? So he's either going to do PML or PMP money to buy the deal. Now, with Matt, he said that he's going to go and buy deals creatively.
I'd like to, yeah.
He'd like to buy deals creatively or cash. But the big thing here is he's open to both methods, right? You're open to cash too or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of the day, the way Matt is able to do all this is because he's going to join the Facebook group. He's going to work with people who are wholesalers who are out there finding deals on his buy box. He's going to start negotiating the deals. And then he's going to go out there and raise capital while he's doing that. Being that Matt has been efficient and he's actually has been building relationships with people like myself who have lazy capital sitting around to deploy in his deals, he's able to actually execute on every single thing that you see here all at once, right?
Yeah.
Any questions, Matt, yet?
No.
No?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So it's pretty straightforward. This is the way you can actually get a deal without joining any clubs or mentorships or coaches or anything like that. This will get you your first deal. It's as simple as just going into Facebook groups, utilize technology, which we all have at our fingertips. You're in Facebook all day long anyways. Just join the free Facebook groups that have a ton of members in them that are very active. Post your buy box, build relationships with wholesalers. And by the way, I can tell you this right now, even introverts can do this. If you're watching this, you're like, oh, I don't like to talk to people, this and that. Even if you're an introvert, you will get slammed with people trying to get you on their email list. Trust me, there is no shortage of wholesalers that want to actually get you on your emails. Would you agree?
I agree.
People can get you on the email. They want you to be on their email list because they can build a bigger email list. That's better buyer list, right? So make sure you're going out there and you're doing these things, and that will help you get your first deal. Look, I know that sometimes this stuff can be difficult, guys. If you feel like, hey, I want a little bit more hand-holding, make sure you go like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Show your brother a little bit of support, but click the description below. I'm actually going live talking about deals just like this, or talking about how you can get into deals just like this on a weekly basis in my school community. I want you guys to be a part of it. If you need help with underwriting, Airbnb stuff, pad split, whatever it is, I'm in there jamming out with you guys on a weekly basis. Not only that, Matt, who runs all my back end stuff, who's on the other side of the camera, he actually is in there jamming out with you guys too, helping you guys build a brand like he's building for me. So I hope to see you guys on the other side. And before you go any further, just like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you found any value today.